Hey everybody, my name is Aiden Mattis. Welcome back to the Lore Lodge official podcast. Joining me remotely because he didn't want to drive in the snow is Tech Aiden, who has...
Yeah, my car is not great in the snow. I may or may not have gone to the gym this morning, and I may or may not have drifted uphill because that's the best I could do because some of the roads in my town are not plowed, specifically the hills. So that's fun.
Everyone in chat is surprised that we're on time.
Yeah, as they should be because we generally aren't.
Yeah,
so
fair,
I don't blame them.
I'm also very surprised by that. I'm gonna drop your audio a little bit. This is fun. This is for those of you who are watching. I'm the one doing the technical side of things tonight, so that's interesting. Yeah, I know he's much louder than me. I'm trying to make him quieter, or at least on level. This is fun, you know. We're getting to experience new things.
Leg that Camaro in the Snow King. You should have seen me going up the hill today. It was a scene. First, I accidentally pulled out in front of a bus. And then, because I was trying to get up this hill, didn't realize that this person was just not going uphill, even though they were in an all-wheel drive SUV. So I'm stuck in halfway in an intersection between a bus, someone else who's coming down the hill, and someone else who's just not moving. Finally, that person moved. I could get up that bit of the hill. Traction control helped until about 3/4 of the way up the hill. And then it just wasn't working. So I turned traction control off. And when I say I drifted back and forth up the hill, I literally drifted back and forth up the hill just to be able to like clear the snow under my tires and get going. It was a scene. It was fun, but it was a scene.
Also, I'm like, my camera's being funky. Oh boy. Yeah, I drove back from State College this afternoon. Nice 3-hour drive.
You were still up there this morning?
Yeah, I ended up staying an extra day because I had shit I needed to do last night.
Got it.
Spent this morning sitting in a Dunkin' Donuts in State College, Pennsylvania, responding to YouTube comments. Before I grabbed.
How was it? Shay told me you guys did some ghost exploring.
We did some hunting for some spook in the stacks. Unfortunately, there was very little spook to be found.
That's unfortunate.
I guess maybe fortunately. But no, I was able to get some pretty cool footage for both YouTube and for TikTok, so I will be putting together a video using that footage, including me standing in the exact spot that Betsy Ardsma was murdered in 1969, in one of the most famous unsolved murder cases in Pennsylvania history.
Oh, well, that's fun. I can see we're getting a little bit of true crime here.
I wouldn't necessarily use the word I wouldn't use the word what word was I thinking? I don't know. Somebody said something in chat and it threw me off. Actually, I did say I was in State College. It's just I said it on Patreon. So this is why the Patreon's important, is because I announced what I was doing on there. But yeah, so I mean, I'll be up there again in March. So if anybody is in and around Center County, Pennsylvania, and you want to come hang out, I'm going to go back up there for State Patties. Maybe I'll be able to drag Aiden up for State Patties as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be game to go. I'll commit to that.
You've been up to for State Patties, right?
I don't think I have. Also, is that the weekend before? Is that before or after St. Patrick's Day?
That is the one before. It's the weekend after Thon and before St. Patrick's. So it's probably
okay. That's perfect.
It's usually like the first weekend of March.
Golden. I'm in.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So we're gonna be up for that. But yeah. So I mean, there wasn't much to see in the stacks, unfortunately. But I will be making a video about it. For those that don't know the story, the gist of it is that Betsy Ardsma was a 22-year-old graduate student at Penn State in 1969. She was in the stacks just on an afternoon looking for some specific books. This particular section of the stacks today is not very isolated from the rest of the library, but back in 1969, the library was not nearly as modernized. Certain sections hadn't been added yet. So this was actually a pretty isolated, quiet part. The stacks are known for being extremely quiet. They're also pretty dimly lit, but that makes them a good study space if you're not afraid of the dark and being in silence. But because of all the books, a lot of the noise gets soaked up. So Shay and I were walking around trying to find it. By the way, half of the footage I have is just us trying to figure out how to get from one spot to another, because the exact spot that the murder occurred was between aisles 50 and 51 in the level 2 core stacks, and we couldn't find those aisles. It only goes up to 45. It starts at
Real
1 and
quick.
goes to 45. Yeah.
For people who didn't go to Penn State like me, what are the stacks?
Oh, I didn't know that wasn't a term at other libraries. It's just it's basically the archive section of the library. So it's
Got it.
It's dimly lit. It's kind of like, lots of Dewey Decimal System and no electronics. But back in 1969, this girl, yeah, exactly, Becca, like she just said, she got lost in the stacks for 2 hours because of the half levels. It's super confusing, really difficult to navigate. But we were we were walking around trying to find our way. Eventually got there. It's what happened was she had interacted with several people. Like, she was seen interacting with several people over the course of this half hour leading up to the murder. Before finally, and if you've watched our story times, one of the ones on there, one of the more recent ones, is called "There's Something Supernatural in the Petite Stacks," and that's actually a story that I completely ad-libbed the entire thing. I did not write it down. I just talked and edited and mashed together, and it took me like 2 hours, but it was a little fun experiment. But that story on the YouTube channel is entirely improv. All the way through. But it's based around this story where Betsy was looking for a book. She interacted with a few different people, and then 2 students heard some books clatter to the ground. One guy was using a photocopier nearby, and they ran into this aisle. And what's weird about it is that there should not have been time for whoever did it to get away. Considering that the sound was made when Betsy collapsed to the ground and knocked some books off the shelves. So somebody bolts out of here. Someone's screaming, "This girl needs help." Actually, the person screaming that, if I remember correctly, leads these 2 other students to her body, where one begins trying to perform CPR, and they call the cops, and the other one thought that this person who said this was suspicious, because what had happened was she had been stabbed through the heart. Traditionally, I've heard that she was stabbed through the heart with an ice pick. On Wikipedia, it says it was a knife. I'm not entirely sure what the truth is. I'm trying to figure that out. But this person leads them to the body, and then as they're investigating the body, they turn around to ask a question, and the person's bolting around the other side of the stack. So they follow them. They said it looked like it was a student. Person runs up the stairs, out of the stacks, out the front door, and then outruns one of the people who was following along. And at the end of the day, they never actually figured out who did it. It's to this day, the mystery is completely unsolved. There were suspects, but nobody who could ever be directly connected to any sort of murder weapon or any motive. It's just a very strange and very unfortunate murder. But yeah, so I'm going to be talking to, in preparation for a YouTube video on this. The TikTok, I'll just go over the basics. But for the YouTube video, I'm going to go through all the channels I possibly can to get the most information. I'm going to talk to the State College or the University Park Police as well, and try and get the actual original police report and see what I can do. But that's the idea there. But other than that, I mean, there's other stuff in Pennsylvania that I want to investigate and go do some stuff with. I want to head up to Centralia at some point. There's obviously the Colt House in Chadsford that we've got to visit. A number of very old, very supposedly haunted buildings in Philadelphia. And what I'm going to try and do for when I go up in March is, ahead of time, contact Penn State and say, hey, I'd like access to these buildings because they're supposedly haunted, and I want to do a whole investigation thing. So yeah, that's kind of what the next couple months look like for us. I don't want to. I'm not going to say that this is going to become a true crime show because it's not, but when stuff aligns well enough and there's like ghost stories related to a true crime incident, we'll probably talk about them. If that makes sense.
Sounds good to me, and I like the sound of us going on some ghost hunting road trips. That'll be fun.
Come along. And the cool thing is those will go up on YouTube, and we'll have like patron exclusive bonus content from those that we can post. Aiden has been supposed to be putting together a blooper reel to post on Patreon.
I have been.
Okay, just make sure.
Come on, dude.
um,
Have a little more faith.
okay. Listen, we save the faith for the Weird Bible podcast. That's where the faith is.
Fair enough.
Which, for those of you who didn't catch that, that was myself and Wendigo. We did it last Thursday. That's going to be at the end of every month. The last Thursday of the month, we're going to talk about a different weird aspect of the Bible and Christian theology. So if that's something that interests you, you should check it out. But today, we're kind of wrapping up the whole missing 411 thing. I want to talk about, revisit a couple of the cases, and then talk about the folklore that is related to it, and the very obvious government cover-ups that are also related to it, such as the Stacey Aris case, where David Politis called the National Park Service, said, "I want it. Can I have a list of missing persons from the national parks?" And they said that list is going to cost you $20,000, which that's not how that's supposed to work. They were like, to compile that list will cost you $20,000.
It's a bit odd.
Yeah, well, then he managed to find a bunch of his buddies who were interested in it, and they all agreed to put together the money to pay for it. He calls again and says, "I've got the money," and they said, "Sorry, I screwed up the story a little bit." He calls. They said they don't have the list. He submits a Freedom of Information Act request. They say the list is going to cost him $20,000. He gets the $20,000. They say, "You're never getting that list," and hang up on him. So generally,
which is weird because considering, well, real quick, just because I'll use my journalism degree here for a second. We covered FOIA requests heavily in journalism, and number one, they don't cost money. First of all, they are the whole point of the Freedom of Information Act is that you are able to go to a government department and request certain documents that are available to the public, but you just have to submit that form. And granted, if you suggest or if you submit a FOIA request for something that's classified, obviously you can't get that. But there are a lot of things that are fully available upon request by a FOIA submission. And there are a lot of cases where people won't give them initially, and it's usually because people don't know that they are actually supposed to give it to you. There's still a lot of incompetence when it comes to FOIA requests. But in that case, the fact that they were demanding money and then downright just saying, "No, you can't have it," is very weird. Mm-hmm. There are denials in some instances, but usually when you press, and especially if you get like other departments involved or, some form of authoritative source, inevitably they will give it to you. But the fact that there was that much friction is weird.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, what if it were the kind of thing that was just straight up classified, like top secret information? Generally, like, the response is just a simple, "We can't tell you that. Like, we can't give you that."
Yeah.
Right?
Or that's classified. Yeah.
Exactly. That's not what they told him. They give him this whole runaround where, like, what I get from it is that it's not classified, but they also don't want to give it to you. Which makes me wonder exactly what department is actually handling these cases. Because if it was the Park Service, then they would just be able to say it's classified. If it was DHS, they would just be able to say it's classified. The only reason, in my mind, that they could possibly give you the runaround instead of just telling you it's classified is if it's not actually. And it's just being handled by some department that isn't actually that's a total like black ops department, which is essentially what I've been suggesting this entire time, is that there is a group embedded within the National Park Service that is black ops that we're not supposed to know about, and likely that came about after the incident with Dennis Martin, because the Green Berets got involved. And I wonder, when you look at that case, I wonder if they found something that made the government kind of revisit this and take it more seriously, along the same lines as what's going on with Skinwalker Ranch, where they're very open about the fact that the government has been doing research in these areas and has used the research from various other groups in these areas, has purchased it, has funded it, all that. But there is a Discord. There's been a Discord for a long time. sorry, I got off track. But yeah, so it was completely illegal for them to do what they did to David Paulides, and to this day they haven't really answered for it. That is on top of the fact that with the Dennis Martin case, the report from the Army, the report from the National Park Service, and the report from Search and Rescue all differ on who was reporting to who, and you know the various bodies that were involved here. The Search and Rescue said that that the Green Berets were not working with them. National Park Service said the Green Berets and Search and Rescue were working together, and the Army report is classified. So,
yeah, I will throw in the caveat that I feel like a lot of the times in cases like this, incompetence is a lot more frequently the reason for, you know, misaligned information than conspiracy. But just considering the context of the situation, there's definitely room for questions to be asked.
Yes, that has been the basis of this channel when it comes to a lot of these things, whether it's Missing 411 or Atlantis or, you know, whatever has been. We're going to talk about this stuff so that people are aware of it, and hopefully they elect representatives who will ask the questions. I would say that's the only way in which this show has ever been overtly political. Is like elect people who are willing to ask questions about things. So that's kind of been the gist and the goal, I suppose.
And I don't think that's a partisan take. I think that's just a general, like, be conscientious of your surroundings.
Exactly.
And who's in them.
We're just trying to get answers to questions, you know? But the specific case I'm talking about here that he was asking about was the Stacey Aris case, which I can't remember the exact national park off the top of my head. I've been driving all day. Like, I'll be honest, this is not the podcast I've been the most prepared for recently. But
you're fine.
General rule. I mean, you're welcome to look it up if you want to get the details for me.
Sure.
But Stacey
Aris.
The Stacey Aris case. Aris is Arras. I believe this is from the 90s, if I remember correctly. Okay. I think it was Yellowstone. I don't know. You'll pull it up.
Yeah, there's opening that one up.
The Blue Berets.
The bizarre vanishing of Stacey Aris. It started as a leisurely horseback riding trip.
What's this from, by the way?
This is from Mysterious Universe.
Okay, just so we give credit.
.org.
All right.
Yeah, good call. It started as a leisurely horseback riding trip at the scenic Yosemite National Park in California. On July 25th, 1981, 14-year-old Stacey Aris was out at an area of the park called Sunrise Meadows, along with her father, George, and a group of 6 others on an excursion that was to last several days. I would assume you might want to take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the basis of it. What happened was they got up to one of their campsites. I can't remember exactly what day it was on, but that's not really important. The important part is that Stacey was with a number of people, including an older guy who I can't remember if it was a grandfather or a family friend, but he was the last person to see her. And she said to the people back at camp she was going for a walk. She was wearing not like good walking shoes, but I don't know if any of the details are in there if you want to read them. But just if you want to read through and let me know if I'm getting anything wrong here. But she said she was going to go for a walk down to the lake, and then walked off. The last person to see her was this older guy who said he saw her walking towards the lake, and then she was never seen again. I believe they did find some article of clothing. It might have been her shoes. Struggling to remember all the details at the moment, but the point of the matter is there's absolutely no reason for this to be classified. If it's just a 14-year-old girl who went missing, there should be FBI documents for certain. There should probably be National Park Service documents. There should be search and rescue documents. And all of these things should be available to the public. There is absolutely no reason to hide them unless there's a reason to hide them, you know? Because it's not like she stumbled onto some random military exercise. It's not like she was, I can't even really think of that many things that would cause them to classify a child's missing persons case, and yet they did. And when this case spurred David Paulides to ask for these documents, they shut him down completely. And it was illegal, it was immoral, unethical, but they got away with it to this day. Nobody's sure what happened to Stacey Aris. And similar trends have kind of repeated since then when it comes to these missing persons cases. We talk a lot about Tom Messick, who went missing up near Brant Lake in New York. Experienced hunter, had been hunting the woods with his family and his friends for 55 years. They all knew the woods very well. All of them who were there, obviously not Tom Messick because he disappeared, but all of the rest of them who were there said that the woods that day felt strange. They were not normal. They were not the way that they were used to those woods being. And in 55 years, that's a lot of experience to have to go, all right, this isn't right. This is not correct. They were there for, I think, 4 hours. They didn't see any game, no deer, no squirrels, no rabbits, nothing, no birds. It was completely silent, no sound of crickets, no bugs, no rustling in the woods and the brush. One person described hearing something like a car door slamming, but he said it wasn't like he didn't recognize it as a car door slamming. That was just the closest sound he could give to get it correctly. But the rest of them didn't hear anything. And Tom just was never seen again. This is a guy who was half blind, could walk okay, but definitely couldn't rapidly escape a 3-mile radius. They searched for him day and night for days. They had the whole grid. I can't remember, again, off the top of my head, I'm struggling right now. But where they lay out string so they can basically make sure that if anyone touches anything, they see it wriggle, and they just found absolutely fucking nothing. And they continue to get more and more weird in that way. The weird part about the Tom Messick case is how quickly the FBI showed up, in my opinion.
Why is that?
Because the FBI doesn't get involved in adult missing persons cases.
Got it. But in terms of how quickly they showed up,
the next
how
day.
quickly did they show up?
When the search was launched.
Do they have an outpost or a something along those lines in the area?
In rural upstate New York, probably not. I can't. They have to have driven in from a field office located in a minor city. There's no way that there's an FBI field office in Brant Lake, New York. So what that means is the second that this missing persons report came in, they were on it, which is not normal at all. The FBI does not do adult missing persons cases. They will occasionally, if it's a trafficking case, but this was not suspected to be a trafficking case. So there's no explanation for the FBI's involvement. The FBI also didn't find anything. And then Fred Drum went missing, I think, 10 days later. It was between 10 days and a month. I can't remember the exact details. We've talked about this in an earlier podcast, though. Fred Drum went missing. He went out for a walk. Never came home. Never found him. With Tom Messick, they never found any of his gear either, which is very, very strange. If a predator grabbed you, first of all, you have a gun. So if a predator tried to take him, he would probably shoot the gun. He didn't. Also, hunters, 3 shots is kind of like a signal, like, hey, come here. If you're lost, they will fire 3 shots, and that's to kind of tell people where they are in case somebody's gotten lost. So that did not click, and they never
just as some context, they do have 3 field offices in New York State. One is in New York City, one is in Buffalo, and one is in Albany.
Yeah, so none of those were in Brant Lake.
Where is Brant Lake?
Brant Lake is basically in the middle of those things. It's directly north of us.
Oh, really?
If you just drove straight north, yeah, you'd eventually get to Brant Lake, which is the general vicinity of where Destiny lives. She's
gotcha. Okay.
For those of you who don't know the story with Destiny, she is I found her through TikTok. She lives in a cabin up in upstate New York. on a farm. It's a livestock farm, and she's been telling us about all this really weird, like screaming from the woods, knocks on the windows, feathers being left on the doorstep, trails of bones in the woods, just weird people coming by now and then, and basically being kind of like odd towards her. And she was on the podcast like a month ago. If you want to check that one out, I think it's like episode 26. But so that was a whole thing. And she's like right near. I'm not going to give away her exact location, obviously, but she lives in the vicinity of all that. And when I dug into it a little bit, there's a lot of weird happenings in that region of New York. So there are a few the options here that are in the middle of rational and supernatural. One of the ones that I put more on the rational side of things is serial killers, but at the same time, experienced hunters and trackers probably would be able to find a serial killer. Like one of the interesting things about the Tom Messick case is that there were no tire tracks. There were no fresh tire tracks. So it can't have been somebody who drove up in a car, grabbed him, and drove off. He had to have walked or been carried out of there. So obviously the supernatural explanation that we kind of go to is, what checks those boxes regionally and in terms of the actual lore surrounding it. We say the Wendigo is kind of the one that fits the best. But there's also the possibility of cults. Cult activity in that area. And from what Destiny told us, I don't know how much you remember of that conversation. I would not have been shocked by cult activity in the area based on what she was saying.
Yeah, the descriptions were very, very odd. Also, just for some context, just checked it out. Brant Lake is just over an hour away north of Albany.
Yeah. So it's, like... That's not in any way, right outside, I guess is my point. Like, it makes sense that they'd be able to show up the next day. It's not the fact that they showed up the next day that gets me. It's the fact that they showed up.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I mean, to an extent, it is the fact they showed up the next day. If they showed up a week into this, okay.
Especially considering it was an adult case, yeah.
They showed up the very next day, Sam and Dean Winchester style, and entered themselves into the case, which to me says that there was something in the FBI database. And you got to remember, this is 2015. This is not a long time ago. It's long enough ago to make me uncomfortable about how old I am, but it's not long ago in the grand scheme of things. Dude, that was 7 years ago.
I understand what you mean now.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, what, 17?
Yeah.
16, 17, yeah.
16 for me, yeah. Wow.
Also, Chiv said, how much would he need to donate to get me to camp out in the Appalachians all alone? Enough to cover the expenses of the trip.
Hey, wait a second. I want to be on that.
Yeah, I'd need Aiden to help film, so it would not
also,
be all
you guys
alone.
You guys are acting like I'm not the one who's willingly ready to put myself in harm's way.
He is the one who wanted to go Wendigo hunting in New York.
Yeah, I think it'd be hilarious.
If we could actually get the time off. I mean, I don't have a job. I'm actively looking. I'm trying real hard.
I know you are.
It's driving me
We'll bring
insane.
some road flares and flare guns and stuff. I'll have
a
flint and steel. It'll be fine.
What we could do, what I was thinking about was, there's a couple places we want to hit, right? We want to hit, Penn State, and also Brant Lake, and then also the Bennington Triangle. We could take a week-long trip and go State College, and then Brant Lake, and then Bennington Triangle.
Could do that, or we could split it up, do one per month, and do just weekends or long weekends.
True, that's also an option. We'll
figure it out.
Case with Tom Messick and his dog, it's pretty sad.
Oh, that's really sad. Come on now.
The dog still stays up waiting for him to come home, which says a lot about dogs. Also, I met Caitlin's dog today. And she is adorable. It's just like
I can imagine.
such
She's so
a cute
tiny.
little animal. I was like, oh my god, it reminded me of Archie, but smarter.
Mm.
But yeah,
That poor pup.
But actually, so Sweet Shadow 20 here said again, perhaps the FBI tips of the cult's movement and that triggered their intervention. That's what I'm thinking, is that whether it's cult or supernatural or serial killer, whatever the case may be, it seems like the FBI was actually paying attention to that region of New York. Like they were concerned there was something going on there, and that's why they were there so quick. Because even in a case of investigating like cult behavior, if it was something new, if it was a new report, something they weren't already aware of, then they probably would have waited a little bit of time for it to become obvious that they were looking at something out of the ordinary, something unnatural, something unusual, and they didn't wait. So so that's kind of where the government cover-up issue comes into this, is why is the federal government aware of these things and not telling the public, and B, keeping an eye on it to the extent where they can show up at a moment's notice, and then when somebody asks about it, just like shutting the door and making sure that they can't get any answers. So I think that in and of itself kind of lends to the conspiracy theory here, that there's something going on. And I don't think that's that far-fetched in any capacity. But Zeus says, but Aiden, the hunters weren't far apart. Do you think one of them seen it? Okay, so I will say this. The distance between Tom and the nearest hunter, Tom was on the end of the line. So I wish I had a piece of paper to do this on right now. Tom was on the end of the line. They were spaced 100 yards apart. So Tom was, if I remember correctly, on the far left side of the line, and then the three other older men and then the younger men were on the other side of a hill, pushing any game they could find towards the older men so the older men could take the shot. It was a hunting strategy they used many, many times. It worked great. There was no reason it shouldn't have worked. So they didn't have to go past anyone to get to Tom. Tom was the easiest target for whatever took him. If it was a serial killer, then, you know, when you think about it, like, you look at a football field and you're like, okay, 100 yards isn't that far. You go into a forest, suddenly 100 yards is much less visible. That's something you and I can do that. Let's do that this week. Head out to like Valley Forge or something and just go 100 yards apart from one another in the woods and be like, I'll go stand 100 yards from the camera and you can be like, do you see him?
Yeah, I'm game.
Because chances are, even across like flat ground, you're not going to see me. There's so many trees, and at a certain point, you got enough trees, they start to like be everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, I would produce the boy. The problem is that the boy is at my parents' house because I was running late getting here. So I have to go get him after the show. But yes, apparently it is you are Dean and I am Sam now. So that's a switch from high school.
Based off of who?
Based
who
off
said that?
of Jesse Escamilla in the chat. Yes, we'll have to take the personality test. Actually, pull up the personality test. That's a fun little thing we can do on the show.
Sure, fair enough.
We'll take a quick break from the missing 401 stuff to figure out which one we are. You're gonna have to ask me the questions.
Becca, you are correct. I would only shave it for Water Polo Spirit Week, which is also, I got my first day back in the pool this morning, and I wanted to die.
How are your eyes?
Oh, eyes are fine, even though I couldn't find my goggles. But dude, it felt like the first day of freshman year preseason. I did 1050s and some leg work, and I'm not joking. I was gonna do a cool down, but I was so nauseous. I was like, I might throw up in this pool if I do another lap.
Dude,
I gotta get out.
Every time I do leg day, I almost throw up. Every time, without fail.
Yeah.
I also tend to overdo it and like go for a PR every single time.
Yeah, that's just our mentality.
Like I squatted like 280 once just to see if I could, and I did it once, stood up and immediately like was like, I need to go to the bathroom. Like I need to go throw up.
Yeah.
Because
Fair.
like my usual is like I'll usually do like 220. Like, and that was too much. Do you have the quiz pulled up?
Well, which quiz should I do? That's the question.
I don't know, man. What's a decent one? What looks good?
What
Was the
let's
first one to
see.
come up?
Hang on, supernatural character
Quiz. Yeah, there we go. Any updates on the Dryas key? Not at the moment. I was talking to somebody with a contact at Netflix. I was also talking to somebody who runs a smaller studio in Seattle. I think there's enough interest to do a low-budget version of it. Maybe a short film version of it that we could then use to pitch to bigger studios. But currently, no movement on that. There is some other exciting stuff in the works, though. That I'm very excited to announce publicly, but I can't do it right now. But you'll.
I
all
just
know
sent
soon.
you the link.
You'll all know soon. Why would you send me the link?
What do you mean? I'm doing the one on Brainfall.
Well, I was just my thought was like you read the questions and answer, and I'll answer them, and then you read the question.
Oh,
yeah. Here, what?
Oh, so yeah, you just do it and then share your screen.
Is it Brainfall? You said.
Yeah, I literally just typed in the supernatural like personality quiz, and then I scrolled through which ones I thought were going to be decent, and I looked at Brainfall, and I was like, sure.
Let's do this. I'm going to read through as I do them because I don't know. I have Google alerts on, and I don't know what's going to pop up on my screen. I don't want to share.
Okay.
But okay,
That's
you and a few friends walk into let's take it at the same time. You and a few friends
Yes.
walk into an abandoned hospital. What is the first thing you do? Take a ride down the hall in a gurney, hide and attempt to scare my friends, check out all the rooms looking for cool stuff, or freak out and leave. I'm checking out all the rooms personally. Also, chat, place your bets now for who gets who.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
I want to scroll through and see.
I'm probably also going to check out all the rooms, to be honest with you. Like, part of me is like, I want to ride the gurney, but fuck it, I'm going to ride the gurney.
There's got to be some difference in our personalities here. They can't know that we're actually the same person.
Yeah, I know. It'd be unfair. Well, it's also like along the lines of the fact that like if I'm with people, if I was alone, I would just check out all the rooms. If I'm with friends, I'm going to fuck around.
By the way, speaking of abandoned mental hospitals, we are probably going to an abandoned mental hospital soon.
Let's go! That'll be fun.
Because I was talking to my buddy who's got contacts at Penhurst, and hopefully this would actually be a lot of fun. We'd be doing it with the people from World's Biggest Ghost Hunt, but not with a studio. We'd just all be going, just to vibe.
Got it. I dig that.
Yeah, so, and the cool thing is the agreement that we're trying to work out is that any footage captured by anybody there will be shared between everybody. So stuff they get, we can use. Stuff we get, they can use, and we can all kind of use it to grow our channels and whatnot, and show off all this cool stuff. You're eating at a restaurant when the manager tells you that you have to move to make room for a celebrity. I am the celebrity. I'm sorry, it was there. I'm not.
Are you a celebrity or an influencer? Is there a difference?
I think I currently count as an influencer. Let's see. I'd probably.
Well, let's read the options.
Yeah,
There's
move. I'm just excited to see a celebrity. Complain and demand a free meal. Compromise and try to find a fair solution. Make a scene. This is unfair. I'm between like fair solution and move, partially because like on the one hand I really wouldn't think it's that big a deal, but on the other hand, like I am a raging capitalist and want to be compensated for my time and space.
See, I'm not going to complain and ask for a free meal because I don't see how a free meal like tracks with that. I'm also not going to make a scene because I'm not going to make a scene. So I'm probably going to compromise and try to find a fair solution because I'm going to be like, if you're moving me, then like that's fine, I guess, as long as like it doesn't affect my dinner and like we still have the same amount of seats for everybody that's here.
Yeah.
Like whatever, I don't care.
Also, most restaurants would offer like to comp something for you in that case, so it's not a big deal. I'm going with the
Plus,
same.
like if you complain, you're less likely to get anything comped. So it's just not gonna if you compromise, they're more willing to like do things for you.
Yeah. So when a light flickers in a dark room, what do you think? I don't think about it much. I think that I probably need to change the bulb. I think that maybe the power is about to go out. I worry that a ghost might be nearby. In my experience, I worry that the power is about to go out.
In my experience, I think it's probably that I need to change the bulb because it's frequently because I need to change the bulb.
Yeah.
So,
you are reading a news article online. What are you reading about? A tragedy that occurred, stock market performance, comics, an environmental piece, or politics? Oh boy, it's politics.
Why is there an option to just not be reading a newspaper? Because
it's
news
a news article
sucks.
Online. For me, it's probably politics.
For me, there's nothing about like interesting things. Like I'd probably be reading about like space or something.
Stock market performance kind of is in the same realm, I guess.
Yeah, I'm torn between an environmental piece and the stock market performance. I'll go stock market performance, I guess. Why not?
All right. Mattis, you punk, LOL. I don't know what that was a response to. Oh, it was a response to me saying I am the celebrity.
Shiv is saying Mattis is Crowley. That's funny. I would laugh my ass off.
I would not be upset.
That'd be pretty cool, honestly.
You are walking in the woods when you hear someone scream. What do you do? I call 911.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'd run to help them. I know it's stupid.
That is the exact opposite of what even like the National Forest Service says you should do.
I know, but that's my instinct at this point in life. Your best friend invites you to dinner. While eating, you notice that their spouse has extremely large, sharp teeth. How do you react? I hold a conversation and attempt to get them to admit their origin. I spill my hidden vial of holy water on them and watch the result.
Just carry one.
I excuse myself and
keep
what's that
thing on me.
Yeah, right. It's always on there. I excuse myself and tell them I'm not feeling well. I don't want to be rude, so I just sit and finish dinner.
I don't really like any of these options.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go hold a conversation, attempt to get them to admit their origin. I do enjoy some rhetorical sparring, so
yeah,
we'll go with that one.
Yeah, as would I.
10. You are given a bottle of wine as a gift. What do you do? I store it for a special occasion. I share it with friends. I drink it right away. I share it with friends.
I'd store it for a special occasion.
When you are walking down the street and someone creepy is behind you, how do you react? Typically not really worried. I'm not gonna say why, but I'm not worried.
I would keep.
I don't want the stream to get taken down.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ball my fists, be ready for anything, because like you don't know if you necessarily need to be ready. But I'd definitely be kept.
For blood flow.
Yeah, I've definitely been in this. In New York, I've definitely been in this situation a couple times, and I kind of just like glance into windows and like all that stuff just to see the reflections,
so
and I'll keep checking behind me. Yeah, just because you never know what's gonna happen.
You wake up in the middle of the night and see a figure in your room. What is your first thought? It's a burglar. It's a ghost. Meh, it's just my significant other going to the bathroom. Well, I'm chronically alone, so it's not...
Yeah, I was going to say, neither of us have a significant other, mainly because neither of us really have time for one.
Also,
I know,
I'm
I
straight
don't.
and girls don't pee, so what would they be going to the bathroom for, you know?
Valid.
I think my immediate thought would probably be burglar.
Oh, well... Considering I live with people, if we could apply that last one to it's a roommate of mine.
Yeah, that was I'd say you could apply that.
Yeah, because that's...
I mean, it really depends on the type of figure. Although I will say this, I am not that light of a sleeper, and I lock both my front door and my bedroom door. So if someone broke in, I would know. So if I just wake up and there's somebody in my room, it's a ghost. We're going with that one. Finally,
we sometimes forget to lock our front door when we go to bed.
You live in Manayunk. Are you trying to die?
Yes. No, we usually lock it pretty consistently because I'm the one who locks it.
Okay, so how much do you believe in the supernatural? I believe anything is possible. I think some things exist. I wonder about it, but I doubt most of it. And not at all. That's just silly. I strongly think some things exist.
Yeah, I wonder about it, but I doubt most of it.
Calculating results.
Let's see what we get.
Almost done. Get result.
Click
Take
to
this
get your
short
result.
survey to see your result. Oh, for the love of God.
Sure.
I am 18 to... Oh, my God. When thinking of body wash, what brands come to mind? Oh, good Lord. Duke Cannon. By the way, if you want body wash that smells great and gets the job done and doesn't cost much money, if you go to the link in my bio and you scroll down to the Duke Cannon setting, you can get yourself some Duke Cannon Supply Co. goods. I'm aware of all of these brands, but I'm gonna fuck with their marketing and say I'm not aware of any of them. I use bar soap and body scrub. Personal care purchasing role. This is not the survey we were supposed to be taking. I'm a little irritated. Almost done.
Yep.
Almost done. I am the primary purchaser. I usually none of these things. I guess online, but what describes your ethnicity or race? White or Caucasian? How many people, including you, live in my household? Just myself. What was the total income before taxes of the year 2021?
Didn't get any of those questions. Either that or I just said prefer not to say because I was flipping through real quick.
Oh my God. I don't. Bro, let me get my answers. Oh, that's
I got mine. What did you get?
All right, on 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Cass.
Sam. I would not have expected you got cast. Read the description, because mine is caring and sensitive. You are always there for your friends and family, but don't let your passion for others get in the way of your own success.
I got, you have a righteous soul. Your life is dedicated to building friendships and doing what is right for everyone, and it is often the people close to you that bring out your true nature.
To be honest, Cass does kind of fit you to an extent.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm looking at the other results. I want to read the Bobby one, because that's the one I've gotten most as I've grown up. You portray a rough exterior, but you have an extremely warm heart. Let's see. Caring deeply for those closest to you comes easily. In your life, there's nothing more important than family and close friends. That one I think fits me better. But
now, tell me if you think this one fits me well. Strong and quick on your feet, nothing takes you by surprise. You anticipate all the possible outcomes and know how to react before anything even happens.
I mean, strong is relative. I can lift more than you.
Hasn't always been the case, and ideally won't always be the case. But I think it's more about emotional strength.
I mean, that's solid. I think that's about equal to the Sam one. I mean, I know that's deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think I'm like a weird in between the two of them.
Oh boy.
Because I'm definitely not Cass. I'm definitely not Crowley. I'm not really Bobby either.
So remember when I said I wouldn't be worried about it, but I'm not going to say why? Someone in chat goes, I'm going to guess Aiden carries some sort of small 45 with a Mason engraving on the slide. That is way too close. That is way too close. It's actually a 40.
Yeah.
And I do carry it while door dashing because they send me to some sketchy places. DoorDash is
Does DoorDash let you do that?
They don't know. They do
might
now.
know now.
I don't think they care that much. It's a personal safety thing, you know. But no, I mean, just to like be quick about it.
See, that's the thing. Everything, like, things tell me I'm sensitive in these quizzes, but like, I'm really not that sensitive anymore.
These quizzes are not built for guys like us.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you understand what I'm saying, they're built more for millennial soft boys.
That's fair.
You and I do not consume nearly enough soy for these quizzes.
I also just
depict us. Yes, I
don't know. I guess I'm
how I make most of my money right now.
I mean, I'm empathetic, but I feel like that doesn't make me sensitive.
We can talk. We'll talk about Freemasons when we get to the question and answer section of the chat, the podcast. But no.
Also, I don't have a problem with sensitivity. I just don't think I am.
Me neither. It's just not like who I am as a person.
Yeah.
At least on the exterior. Yeah, DoorDash sent me out to like a pretty dicey part of Pottstown last week, and I was like,
Did they really?
I am actually very glad to be able to have a firearm. But let's see. There's stuff going here.
I would DoorDash, but some places are sussy. That's funny.
I know I have to make fun of the millennials though. Like I must. Partially because I'm so close to being one of them that I really have to like hammer it home that I'm not. So many people on TikTok think I'm like 28 or 30.
Really?
Yeah.
Which let's all be fair. Millennials are far worse than Gen Z. We all know that.
Yeah, definitely.
At least on the whole, there are exceptions to every rule.
That is a good point. Whenever RG comes in, we do appear quite soft.
I'm sorry. There's a difference between being soft and being a cold, heartless bastard. And if you are not like loving towards an animal, you are in fact a cold, heartless bastard.
Especially an animal like Archie. What a good boy! Like
he is the best boy.
Yeah. But to get into kind of the final little bit here that I wanted to talk about, to bring up another very specific case, because obviously we talked about Stacey Arce, we talked about Tom Messick, we talked about Fred Drum. I want to bring up the case of, where is it?
The John Wick of DoorDash.
I mean...
Oh,
okay, so there's a couple here that get me. We've got...
okay. I like, what did they say? Tech aid might be more like perceptive of others. I like to think I am. I've been told I have been, but we'll see. I'm also somebody who like, and I still don't fully understand this, but I've had several occasions where I have met someone for the first time, like whether it's at a party or just in a random like scenario, and I'll be talking with them, and like maybe like 30 minutes, an hour later, we'll be like deep in the middle of a conversation, and the words that I'm about to say have been said to me on a number of occasions. Wow, I've never told anybody that before. I don't know why I just told you that. No idea why it happens. I just am a good listener. I don't know. But it's at the point where it's happened so many times that I'm confused by it, and I would like an explanation. Anyway.
I don't have an explanation.
Yeah, no, I'm curious if anybody in chat has an explanation, but yeah, it's happened too many times.
We have 8 minutes before Super Chat section, so...
wow, this went fast.
Yeah, right? This is how they were in the olden days, you know? You remember?
Yeah.
Back before we were able to book guests. Speaking of which, we do have guests coming up, and they're other spooky YouTubers, so I'm really excited about that. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the month, we have another history guy. So that will be coming in. We also might have somebody coming in studio, because one of the people I reached out to lives in York County.
Oh, perfect.
So that would be awesome. There's a certain other creator who lives in New Hope who I think we would have a lot of fun getting in studio if we could pull it off. I will have to reach out to him. I know he's very busy starting his own podcast, so I don't have high hopes.
Oh, is he really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah. But at the same time, you know, it would be awesome to get him on again, and especially to like get him in studio and be able to like talk face to face and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe get him to sign something. I do want to our canvas print that we have over on the wall. I do want when we have people in studio, I want to have them sign it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Fun. Yeah. So no, Milo we will be having back on. I don't know when. But I have spoken to him about it. He wants to, but this is his last semester of college. He's got a lot going on. Last year we were able to talk to him because he was over break. So we will be talking with Milo again. Probably also Steven. I've been talking with Bahari from TikTok as well, for those who follow him, and a couple of other people. So hopefully we'll be able to get all of them on. New Hope, Pennsylvania. And yeah, the last bit I want to talk about here is the folklore, like I said, with some of the cases. And the ones that really stick out to me here are Garrett Bardsley and Chris Tompkins, because neither of those cases could have been human beings. Garrett Bardsley was midway between his scout troop and his father. There was no way he possibly could have gotten off the trail accidentally. We've talked about this on the last couple podcasts. If anybody wants to go back and read through that, just we don't have a ton of time right now. But the only thing that was found of him after a very large search was a single sock in a boulder field. Very strange. And then there's also the case with Chris Tompkins. Chris Tompkins could not have been taken by a person. It simply would not have made sense. They would have heard something. It would have been footsteps. It has to have been something completely silent. Something that can move very fast, completely silently, and can knock somebody out in a single blow. So, what fits those descriptions? Well, a lot of people say Bigfoot. The Missing 411 documentaries and the videos on YouTube, so much Bigfoot. Bigfoot is everywhere. But in Native American folklore, Bigfoot is not a bad character. Bigfoot's actually a protector spirit. Now, if you were to be actively harming nature or harming the people that Bigfoot protects, then you're not looking at quite the same thing. Then you're looking at, Bigfoot would be after you for that reason. But there's no reason that Bigfoot would just grab somebody, rip them off the face of the earth, and disappear into the nether region. So that one doesn't really work. A lot of people say skinwalkers. Skinwalkers, not really their MO in terms of the folklore surrounding it. The skinwalker typically is going to play with you a little bit more. They're really the ones that do the mimicry. Wendigos are known to have the capability to do mimicry, but the skinwalkers are really the ones that are known for the mimicry. And they are, to my understanding, they're more shapeshifters than they are than they have superpowers, like super strength and super speed. They do have some ability, but not to the extent that they could just, pick someone off completely silently from 5 feet behind their friend. That leaves, in my opinion, the Wendigo. The Wendigo mythology fits the best with these cases because these involve, basically someone who has to have been abducted in the blink of an eye. Has to be super fast, super speed, and they have to be dragged somewhere, carried somewhere. In the case of Chris Tompkins, he was clearly picked up and held upside down because a bunch of stuff fell out of his pockets. His boot was found tied up into a barbed wire fence. His other boot was found 800 yards away. Nothing else of him was ever found. So when it comes to the folklore explanations, the Wendigo seems to have been the best option, the closest option. And for me, it's examples like these that lead me to look at that kind of an option, because there is no rational explanation for Garrett Bardsley disappearing in a 150-meter hike on a clearly marked trail between his father and his campsite. There is no reason for Chris Tompkins abruptly disappearing from a trail while working a surveying job. There is no reason for Jim McGrogan to have ended up, 7 miles or 7 kilometers or whatever it was from where he went missing, as if he'd fallen from a great height. There's no explanation for those cases. And those are the ones where I have to really look at it and be like, all right, what are we dealing with here? What happened? And I think that when it comes to the Wendigo, something that is supposedly created by either possession via demonic entity or just a transformation that occurs as a result of eating other people. The demonic entity explanation makes a lot more sense in my opinion. Or that it's its own creature out and about in the wilderness doing its own thing. It's something that's super strong, super fast, thrives off of human flesh, comes out mostly in the winters, and in Native American folklore is extraordinarily hard to kill. There's one Ojibwa tale of a Wendigo taking a boy off into the woods and them tracking the native tribesmen tracking it down, and they don't kill it. They cut off its legs and they leave it. And when they come back a few days later to see if it's dead, it is sucking the marrow from its own legs.
Oh,
and then they kill it.
interesting.
Yeah, so extremely hardy, but they also don't seem to have the complete and total savagery and inhuman nature of these things is not universal in Ojibwa and Algonquin folklore. Sometimes it's completely capable of communicating with you. And those stories are the ones that make me wonder about how these might be connected to the red-haired giants, to the Jotnar, to the Nephilim, to the Titans of Greek mythology, all of these different things. You've got to wonder to a certain extent, like at what point. And then also you have a lot of one of the things that's said about the Nephilim in the Book of Enoch is that they fornicated with beasts of the earth. And as something that is superhuman, it's entirely possible at that point that maybe they actually could breed with something like an ox and you get a minotaur. Or maybe they breed with a goat and you get a fawn. We have a lot of these things in European and Near Eastern mythology as well as Celtic. So I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying in any way that any of this is absolute. But it's certainly interesting.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. With that, it is time to go to Super Chats and the Q&A. Remember, everybody, Super Chats will get priority. They will be answered first. If we have time, we will get to other questions as they pop up. But feel free. We hit our donation goals for January. So
yeah, that's exciting.
I haven't decided on what we're going to do for February yet, but I figure we'll just count anything that comes in tonight towards it regardless.
As we wait for Super Chats, there's a question that just came in about somebody asking our opinions on the alien thing. And before we dive into that, somebody said earlier that I must be Sam because in relation to how willingly I am to go into danger in terms of these trips that we're planning.
Dean treat.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, have you watched the show? Have you seen how much Dean wants to die? But nonetheless, I just wanted to make that joke.
Wanting to die is a Dean trait? Okay, well, all right, I'm Dean.
Yeah. Valid. But yeah, no, in terms of the alien question, one
money goal somebody suggested should be you shaving your head.
No. No. You would have to pay a lot of money for me to do that, considering I'm in the middle of trying to grow it out. If you want to pay me...
Oh, wait, no, I did have ideas. I don't have a 750, but I do have ideas. 250
Fair enough.
Was going to be a stream that is entirely a jam session, separate from our normal stream. Which...
Yeah, like a Twitch stream, yeah.
Yeah. 500 was you and I have a wrestling match.
Interesting, okay. Wrestling or arm wrestling?
Wrestling.
Okay.
I think we should get a referee and everything. Can do it at a local.
All right.
Sure. We can Twitch stream it.
I've never wrestled, but all right, neither. I'm down.
Me neither. So we'll see how it goes. 750 is currently blank. So if anybody has a suggestion for what we should have at the 750 tier, feel free. And $1,000 is a 24-hour stream.
Ooh.
That would just be 24 hours of you and I doing nonsense time. So
yeah, pretty much. I'm fine with that.
Personally, I think would be very fun. And let's see.
It would be.
Becca, I know I will go tomorrow. I have nothing to do tomorrow. I will go tomorrow.
Hang on, really quickly. I want us to touch on the alien thing and also to finalize the question about the hair. If somebody wants to, like, specifically send me $10,000, I'll do it. That is genuinely the number that I would do it for. I literally was considering 5, and I was like, no, that's not enough. I want to grow my hair out pretty badly right now. I have not cut it since August, and I want to go at least a full year, see how it goes. Basically, I want to look like Garrett by the time the season 3 of The Witcher comes around. That's like partially the goal. But yeah, 10K and I'll shave my head. Not like full bald. I'll do a buzz cut.
All
but
right,
just putting that out there.
I am feeling insulted by this chat, so I am going to open the PO box tomorrow. That is what I'm going to do tomorrow. That is my only goal
Good.
for tomorrow. I have been
There
applying
you
to
go.
jobs nonstop. Nothing has happened, so I'm just gonna give up and go open the PO box, and then maybe people can send me stuff that I can somehow use to pay my rent. Let's see. Shiv says 10K. 750. Lorefather dyes his hair blue, like electric blue.
You've done enough.
All
really?
Right, I'll take it. Yeah, might as well. Not the whole.
You were just
not the whole hair. I'm just gonna take what's already blonde.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
So, Pat said, "Stop using shampoo. Then you won't."
That's a great. Stop using shampoo. That Pat, I will use your shampoo from now on.
Why does Pat want you to stop using shampoo?
I think because he likes it when I'm dirty, stinky.
You have a very strange relationship with your roommates.
We do. It's great. I love it. Also, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Answer the question from your perspective about the aliens, because I have a take on it.
Oh, okay. So for me, the aliens question comes down to a very, very technical answer, because I do not believe in space aliens. I believe the Fermi Paradox is a very good point, and as an Italian American myself, I must support my brothers. So no space aliens, in my opinion. But being as science is swiftly approaching the conclusion that we live in a multi-dimensional space, I am perfectly fine with the concept of interdimensional aliens. I believe that if you're a Christian, specifically, as well as a Jew, if you're a Christian or a Jew, then, angels really essentially are interdimensional aliens. So if angels are interdimensional aliens, then I have to believe in aliens, and I have to believe that perhaps there are other further dimensions where aliens could come from. So yes, I believe that aliens are a possibility, but I think that they are from other dimensions, not other planets. Iz has asked a couple things via Super Chat. One of them is just your friendly neighborhood Splenda friend popping in to remind you to take care of yourselves and tell Archie he is loved when he gets home. Absolutely. That is why I was in State College this weekend, is because I needed a break from existence. Go be a college student for a weekend. It was nice. I enjoyed it.
Aiden, real quick, before you say the next thing that is sent, what was the principle that you mentioned?
The Fermi Paradox?
The Fermi Paradox. How do you spell that?
Fermi. The Fermi Paradox is the... in its more eloquent form, it's... if Drake's equation is correct, then the only way that we haven't encountered alien life is if there isn't any.
Okay.
If there was alien life, we'd have encountered it by now.
You say what Iz wrote, and then I'm going to respond to the alien thing, because we have very conflicting opinions on that.
All right. Iz says, pretty boy with long hair is going to do wonders for his viewership.
Cool. All right, my turn. Okay, so that's actually the exact argument that I despise, because because think about it.
You didn't know how to spell it 3 minutes ago.
Well, I knew what it was, but I didn't know it had a name.
Oh, okay.
I've just heard the argument come up in past. Because my perspective is, with the expansiveness of the universe, just the fact that it is light years large, and that's a small way to describe it, and the fact that humans have only really been observing the universe for a few hundred years now. I mean, you can go back a couple thousand years to more rudimentary things, but that is nothing in terms of galactic time. We've also had 5 mass extinctions. We're in the middle of the 6th. There is a very large possibility that there is a planet out there that has never gone through a mass extinction event. Imagine if this planet had never gone through a mass extinction, and it had what essentially humans were on that scale then. There would have been hundreds of millions, if not billions of years for that race to evolve if they survived. Just there are so many variables that I think because A, they might be way too far.
Why
B, they
haven't
may not
found
want us to. Who's to say? We don't know that they haven't. They may just have
They
not
just haven't contacted us.
Yeah, they may have actively stayed away. I mean, really, would you?
Alright,
If
okay,
you were,
okay,
if you,
fair enough,
if
fair
you,
enough,
if
okay,
you,
okay,
no. I'm not coming after you. I'm not coming after you. I'm just making the point because I just, with how large the universe is, and here's the thing: is I'm not saying there's definitely intelligent life out there. I'm just saying it's possible. But I think there is some form of life somewhere. The universe is far too big, with far too many planets and far too many star systems and far too many galaxies,
Mhm.
for there to not be some form of life somewhere. Whether or not it's intelligent, who knows? Whether or not it's intelligent enough to reach us or communicate with us on any scale like that, again, impossible to know right now. But I wouldn't be surprised, and I think we shouldn't rule out the possibility because the universe is so large, and frankly, we are such a young species when you compare on a galactic scale that I would not be surprised if A, they existed, B, they were intelligent, and C, they're choosing not to contact us because they look at us and they're like, no, we're not getting involved in that.
Yeah, understandable. All right, to scroll through here. Can non-binary folks join the Freemasons? That is a complicated question to answer. It really depends on how you choose to present. With transgender individuals, it's a bit more cut and dry. The United States is still trying to figure out how our lodges feel about it. But the idea in England right now is that if you full-time present as a man, then you can become a Freemason. And if you've gone through transition surgery. So a fully transitioned transgender man can join the Freemasons in the Grand Lodge of England. I don't think Scotland has the same rules. Conversely, a person who became a Mason and then transitioned into becoming a woman can remain a Mason. So it's you've got to fully be one or the other. Non-binary would be a difficult selling point. You would, if you were, I'll say this, if you were a non-binary male assigned at birth, then as long as you didn't tell anyone that you're non-binary, you could probably join. But at the same time, being a Mason myself and knowing kind of the attitude towards omission, whether it's the question of are you joining of your own free will, do you believe in a higher power, like any of those questions, if you answer no to any of the important questions like that, which being male isn't really a question that gets asked because by the time you get to that stage it's already been ascertained that you're male. So if you're non-binary and you want to become a Mason, if you're a non-binary female, you're probably out of luck. You might be able to join Order of the Eastern Star if somebody close to you is a Mason. Or if you are a non-binary male, you could probably get away with it by just not talking about it. But at the same time, I would recommend that you do mention it to whoever reaches out to you after you contact them. And, that preliminary meeting, you should probably be like, all right, listen, I'm male, but gender non-binary. And at that point, I don't know. I honestly don't know what they'll say. In my opinion, that does fit within the structure, but every lodge is different. Every Grand Lodge is different. So it's a hard question to answer with any degree of certainty. Somebody else also asked. They said they were thinking of becoming a Mason and asked, like if we had any advice. I don't know if we did an episode on it, like a Saturday episode, but we do have a podcast where we talk about Freemasonry.
Yeah, I feel like we at least mentioned it in a Saturday video, but I'm not sure.
We have a podcast where we talked about it at length. We talked about it briefly in the Astro World Saturday video. So here are my suggestions when it comes to Freemasonry. I don't recommend other channels because I haven't had time to watch all their content. I know everything I've said. So if you want to learn about Freemasonry, we have a podcast episode on Freemasonry, and we also have I also have a playlist on my TikTok account about Freemasonry. Everything said in those playlists and in that podcast episode, I know to be factually true about Masonry. So those are the best resources I can give you. You can also purchase off Amazon Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. You can get The Lost Keys of Freemasonry, The Secret Destiny of America, Duncan's Ritual. Any of those books. I think we can actually set up an Amazon store where we get a percentage of any sales. I'm thinking about doing that, although if we do our own website, then I don't know how we'll do it. Maybe doing drop shipping. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out as I look more and more into this. But yeah, so that's that.
I do want to drop a quick hot take based off of something it is said people are not people are complicated. And I'm just going to say, hot take, most people aren't that complicated when you combine genetic predisposition with a few environmental factors based on upbringing and just general life experience. It's pretty easy to predict what somebody will and won't do in a given situation. That's why advertising works. Just throwing that out there.
Also, Shiv said, is there such thing as Freemasons, but for women specifically? Anyone but Mattis answer this. I'm going to answer it. Yes, but you have to be directly related to a Mason. There's Order of the Eastern Star, Rainbow Girls, and Job's Daughters. But you you have to be related to a Freemason directly, father or husband. Let's see. Yeah, basically. The Astral World that you butchered when you were talking about it. I remember that one. Astro World. Astro World, like the Astro World Festival, not Astral. Do Eastern Stars and Meat Freemasons ever collab? Yes, they do work together on certain things, mostly charity events. Thornbury, everything you just said proved how complicated people are.
Not true, though. I mean, like, yes, there are, like, complicated elements to people, but once you boil it down to just the general categories in which I listed, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different options in those categories, but, the fact of the matter is that, people generally fall into, there's the 16 personalities, theory in psychology, and people fall, yeah, there you go. But people fall into those, and they generally, they're pretty accurate. They're essentially the scientific version of astrology. So it's like, it's evidence-based personality understanding. And, yeah, when you take in elements like that, along with IQ, again, genetic predisposition to whether it's some form of mental illness or, physical or mental capabilities on, a ranging scale, and then you take in the environmental factors of how certain people were raised, specific events that they may have witnessed or been a part of when growing up, and then just kind of general life, social class, socioeconomic class, I should say.
Couple of things really quick. Rebecca Felgate says you forgot to factor in mental illness.
No, that was part of my
one I feel inclined to answer right now, because of the way it was worded. Aiden, I've asked this question a little earlier, but I need an answer in soon. What happens if I happen to be bit by one of these strange creatures? What creature specifically, I guess, is the big question here. Because some of them, that's a problem, and some of them you're lucky.
Fair.
If it's a Wendigo or a Skinwalker or Dogman, something like that, if you got bit, you're lucky it wasn't worse. If it's something like a vampire or a strigoi or an ashwang, anything along those lines, you might be in a little bit more trouble. You don't want to get yourself into that kind of situation. Those are not ideal.
Shit, I don't know. I feel like it depends on the scenario.
If anything bit you, you should probably go to the ER. If anything, like other than your own dog.
Even if your own dog bit you, there's a lot of bacteria in their saliva.
Skin, yeah. But yeah, if anything bit you, definitely go to the hospital.
Yeah.
But no, if a Wendigo bit you, you'd be lucky to be alive. So, also, I liked taking that quiz. We should do that as a segment on every show where we find a new quiz to take.
I'm game.
For what character we are from something.
We should do a Lord of the Rings character quiz.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
Pull one up and send it to me. We'll take it.
I'll do it, yeah. While we wait for any remaining super chats. I've also been thinking about doing a Patreon exclusive, like, shorter podcast. I don't know what that would be, but...
I also don't know when we do it.
I do want to launch another show, but we'll have to talk about that.
Fair enough.
But I was thinking that one would just be like just a normal talk show where we'd like talk about nonsense. We'd have a time.
We can't take the name nonsense.
I know. Silliness hour.
Fair enough. We can do that.
Oh boy.
I'm not. Nothing wrong with that, but that is not the disposition in which I have.
What was the question?
Somebody said, for a brief second, I thought Thornberry said he was gay. Nope.
Only for
Henry
Cavill.
Only for Henry Cavill, yes. Yeah, nothing wrong with anybody that is gay. I just am not.
All right, so go to the one on Book Riot. Just look up Book Riot.
Captain Alien said, for $5, thank you very much. When are y'all going monster hunting? Pretty much as soon as we can.
Yeah, I think once the weather's a little bit warmer is pretty much the answer to that.
Yeah. Aiden, we've got a Ranger's Apprentice quiz. What is that?
Ooh, I'll do a Ranger's Apprentice. Let's do Ranger's Apprentice. Yeah.
What is that?
It's another fantasy series. Rangers.
Got it.
You'd actually probably like it a lot.
Is it a book, show, movie? Yeah. You said yes to
book.
3 things.
Book.
Okay.
We'll go with the Playbuzz one because that's the top one.
Okay.
Will Halt, Horse,
Can do, will do.
Alice. Why is Tug on here? Tug is a horse.
Hold up, send me the link.
It's playbuzz.com, and it's which Ranger's Apprentice character are you? But yes, we will be going monster hunting very soon. There's just some places we've got to get clearance from to actually enter.
Playbuzz, you said?
Yep. All right, what do you do in your spare time? Play games, talk with friends, create something, eat food, get to-do list done. Play games, primarily. Did you find it?
Yeah. What do you do in your spare time? Play games, talk with friends, create something, eat food, get to-do list done. Usually I'm making something.
Where do you feel most comfortable? Nature.
Home, in battle, cozy places, nature.
Would you consider yourself a musical person? Yes. I do the music. What is your approach to leadership? I'd rather not, but I feel like I could. Like, I never want to be, like, the first person picked to lead something. What describes your personality best? Strong and commanding, calm, reserved, and resourceful, sarcastic, quiet but strong. I think sarcastic is the only one of those that actually applies fully.
Yeah, for sure.
Which occupation would you most want to have? Diplomat, ranger, administrator, planner, warrior. Ranger. Oh my god. You kidding me? Weapon of choice. Bow. Would rather not fight. Lame. Sling. Brute physical power. Sword. Bow.
I like the sword, man.
Yeah, valid. But you gotta get so close. When a friend is in trouble, what do you try to do? Usually offer a solution to the problem, which pisses off my female friends to no end. Danger! What do you do? Stay and fight. I don't know how good it is chasing.
I try and solve it non-violently. Which is why apparently I keep... Everybody tells me I would get like a like in the lightsaber color quiz thing, where everybody's like, you'd be green because, you know, you are like that.
I thought blue was the defensive one.
Blue is the kind of like fight first, ask questions later.
Oh,
green is like... yeah, no, green's the one that's like, I'm going to be a diplomat until I absolutely can't be anymore.
We should do a Star Wars lore episode.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Lifestyle. No. We could just... Dude, we could do a weekly podcast about Star Wars.
Yeah, that's true.
I got it.
True.
All right. I want chat to tell me what they think I am.
I have no idea who this is. So.
All right, chat. Who do you think we are?
Yeah. Cavill is an extremely good-looking man, and
also we're not going West Coast monster hunting until we have a hell of a lot more money.
I want to know, Traveling Bard, I want to know why you said that. Please give me
What did he say?
a reason. Traveling Bard said Tech Aiden is going to be Horus, calling it now. Is
we got to remember they're on a 20-second delay, so
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, is Cavill's he is the man on Earth right now. I don't know what I'd do if I ever met him. I think I might just lose the ability to speak.
Iz said she's got to get stinky for the podcast. Traveling Bard says Tech Boy is Horus, Mattis is Halt. What were you?
I was Horus.
I was Halt.
So, can you explain that to me? Because I don't...
Sure. So, Horus is a knight. Straight up, just a typical, armor, shield, sword, rides a war horse. Very noble, very honorable. Good guy, tries to do the right thing. A little bit too, lawful good. Halt is more of... he's a ranger, so I think more like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. So he's probably more on the neutral good, I guess, probably.
Got it. Well, it's sounding accurate so far.
Horus is a big protector himbo boy.
What does that mean by himbo?
Good heart, very big and muscular, not very bright.
That's the only thing I would disagree with on that one.
But
Poor
that
Horus
is coming to the end of super chats, I think. I don't see any more.
Oh my god, yeah, this went fast.
Yeah. We do have guests next week. Next week is, I think, Strange Familiars podcast. So Timothy from over there. And then the following weekend is Swamp Dweller, who is a scary story narrator who narrates allegedly true paranormal encounters, kind of like what we were doing early on with Storytime. We haven't gotten many of those recently, so if anybody does have a true encounter of something they've come across, shoot it over to us in an email at thelorelodge@gmail.com, and we will get that done. There will be story time this week. There will be story time. So everybody get hella excited for that. Tomorrow we have a history video coming. What did we talk about? We talked about Macedon. So we're getting set up to do a series on Rome all the way through. And when I say Rome all the way through, this is going to be a little different from your average Rome all the way through. And more of a...
God damn it is.
Rome oh my god, how did you get here? Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh my gosh, look who it is.
Well, what perfect timing.
Hi. Hello. Look at you. Looks like he's got a sneeze.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, I missed you. I missed you all weekend. Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. You're a good boy. He's hopping down.
What a champ.
I did say get hella excited for that, Shiv. I'm not too old for that. Why does everybody think I'm old? Do I look
I don't know,
old?
you are 24 now. Nah, but 24 is mid-20s, man.
Yeah, I know.
Things start to change.
Lynn M. Rickard. I have looked into it. I have not had a chance to contact. But I will look into doing that tomorrow morning. My goal for the next week is essentially, there's something very important I'm working on this week. But I will have time to look into more people. Also, last time I was going through and reaching out to people, I YouTube only lets you view so many people's email addresses per day. So, oh, hi, Devin. Devin's also here.
The whole clan is there.
Devin, say hi. Want to put your paws up on the table? Oh, all the puppies. Whew. But yeah, so a lot in the works. Reach out to more people. We've got 2 scheduled for the month of February. 3 scheduled for the month of February, actually. So that's exciting. And then March follows that, and we'll see who we can get. I'm hoping to do something on site soon.
Ideally.
Actually, I need to look at the exact geography of it, but you and I might be able to pull something off this weekend during the ski trip.
That could be cool.
So probably like Sunday afternoon, like after everybody's getting ready to leave.
That'd be cool.
You and I could probably head out, but because there's just some stuff we need to see and need to get ready for that project that I told you about. But yes, that other good puppy is Devin. She's her name. She's great. My family's dog from when I was a kid. She's wonderful. She loves Archie. Shiv, every time I read the chat, it seems like you are solely just criticizing me and letting everybody else get away with whatever they want. It's rude. It's mean.
The last thing he said was, "Mary, your daughter is allowed to say it, though."
The gamer word?
What?
Oh
no, hella.
Okay, it was like,
where did that come from?
I'm so tired.
It's fair enough, man.
I'm exhausted. Oh boy.
I know the feeling, dude.
Yeah, but so something else, just for everybody still here, something else that we're now doing is we're taking direct Patreon requests regarding topics for us to cover. So if there's something that you want us to cover, we're putting out posts every month, basically saying, what you guys want to see. And that is visible to the $1 tier and up. So if you have specific requests, you can put them in through there. That's all I have to say on that matter. We're definitely going to be uploading more stuff to the Patreon account. Maybe doing some like patron exclusive like giveaways and stuff like that. So just trying to actively utilize that platform a bit more, especially since so many of you have been so good to us when it comes to being on Patreon and and contributing to this and supporting us through us trying to follow our dreams. And we really do appreciate that so much. So we're trying to get better at rewarding that loyalty for everybody in a very meaningful way. Furthermore, I am in talks with a couple of local businesses about having a Lore Lodge meet and greet in town. One group was very interested, so I will confirm with them that we can do it, confirm the exact number of people that we can have, and at that point, we will talk about scheduling a date, but there will most likely be sometime in late spring or early summer, a Lore Lodge meet and greet in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. I am going to try and get you all of the details for that as soon as I possibly can. That is all.
Cool.
Yeah. So it is 8:34. For once, this is actually only 8:34, and we're already over time. So if anybody has any more super chats, submit them now. If not, we will go to the end of the show. You guys are on a 20-second delay from us, so I will give it a minute, and then we will say our goodbyes if we must. Oh boy.
I have a feeling
these are all going
those
up on Spotify, by the way. The last bunch of these.
Yes, I spent a couple hours converting them today. So, check them out.
Chiv says, "Pretty boy, tell us about your hair."
I don't. What do you want to know about my hair? It's. I refuse to believe that this is still technically blonde. This is
It is still
a
technically
light brown.
It's technically
No. Is everyone colorblind? Look at that.
I am.
That's a light brown. You can't convince me.
I'm colorblind.
No, that's a light brown. I'm done with the blonde.
All right. Well, it looks like the question and answer section is done. So, thank you everybody for coming by. We'll be live next week with, I believe next week is Strange Familiars. If not, it's Swamp Dweller. So, thank you so much to everyone for coming by. Thank you so much to those who super chatted, and we will see you again next week.